Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sterriel,
Here.
Commissioner Galvin,
Here.
Commissioner Marcellus,
Here.
Commissioner Blend,
Here.
Chairman Pierre. Commissioner, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The mayor is advised that he will be late, so I will preside over the meeting this afternoon until the mayor is in. Approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Madam Chair, if I could, before you approve it,
Sure.
I'd like to remove item 2. I'll pull it and remove it
Okay.
completely.
All right.
So we'll
Um,
be just discussing the budget amendment.
Okay, beautiful. So agenda number 2 has been moved by the city manager or by the director. Do we have to vote on it? Not really. Okay. So do we have to approve the minutes? I was up.
Yes.
Well, let's just approve the agenda before they do approve the
I'll
minutes.
move approval of the minutes.
I second it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I'm assuming everybody's agreed. Approve of the agenda. I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Clerk, can you please read agenda number 1?
Proposed amendment to the FY 2012-2013 budget.
Mr. Director?
Yes, Madam Chair and board members, I am requesting a proposed amendment to the budget. I sent you an item dated March the 6th. I'd like to draw your attention to page 1 to better lead you to understand what the amendment entails. If you would look at the undesignated carryover from the prior year, that's $724,000. In particular, there's also undesignated funds, which is what we are currently requesting to amend. That's in the tune of $826,000, those funds that are undesignated are coming from the following areas. There was $99,000 that was going to be used for the sidewalk in the downtown area for cleaning and sealing. We are not going to do that project. We have learned that FDOT will be doing a project on 125th Street. It will impact, or it will involve some of our brick pavers to be removed and then replaced. So
All of it?
not all of them. We don't know how the details as of yet.
Are we?
But basically, when they remove them, they just stack them, and then once they finish the work, we put them back.
Are you referring to the project that they have to do on 7th Avenue?
No, this is 125th Street.
Okay. What is it?
I don't know all the details of it. I got it from community planning from John O'Brien, that there's a project that they're going to be doing a repaving. They're going to be taking, I guess where we have some of our planters, it's going to involve some of that. So it would involve some of the sidewalks along the edge being uplifted and then replaced.
Okay.
So it doesn't make any sense to proceed with that project. Also, if you remember during the audit that the county conducted, they had brought up the fact that there was $96,000 used by FP&L. The work was never done by FP&L when the high school was built. There was they had changed their plans. They actually got the money from the CRA. We went back and were able to retrieve $96,000 back from FP&L. There is $91,000 of unexpended funds for city projects. We're bringing that back in. There was $40,000 that was allocated for the small business grant program. We're bringing that back in.
How
Also,
much? I'm sorry, how much?
40,000.
Okay.
And there's 500,000 for the 125th Street Streetscape program. So we're bringing that back over as well. That was for the downtown area. That totals to be the 826 that we're making an amendment for in this budget year. If you go over to page 2, where it's highlighted in black bold font, you'll see the redevelopment program amendments. As you know, that there was the project for the Pioneer Boulevard project. That was an additional $87,000 for that project. So the funds that we are bringing back will be used for that. There's Four Circles project in District 3, $12,000. And then, as you see there, there's a property acquisition for $715. This would have been for item 2 that we have removed off of the project. So this funds will be there, but it would not be for the acquisition at this time. At a later date, we may bring that back to you, or another project back to you for consideration. So that's where the $814,000 allocation that we are requesting. And that's what this budget amendment entails for the fiscal year 2012-2013 that we're requesting to amend.
So, if I understand, we have a total of $814,000 reserved that are non-allocated. That's what it is right now?
Yes. Well, it's 87 will be for the Pioneer Boulevard project, which is already underway.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
something
okay.
that was approved, but there was a funding that we took from the CRA to cover that.
So how much money in total that we actually have right now? 715. Okay.
Because we're not doing that acquisition.
We're not doing it at all, or we're
I-
not doing it now?
We're not doing it now. That particular project does not look like that it's going to take place.
May I ask what happened? Because the last time that we met, it seemed like everybody was fired up.
I think that there was a change of mind with the property owner. I know that it was a change of mind with the property owner. There was a sticking point, and I can tell you what that sticking point was. We had offered them to do an appraisal. They didn't want to pay for the appraisal, so we agreed to do the appraisal, and we would back it out if we did the sale price. Well, we did an appraisal. The appraisal came back at $650,000. The property appraiser has it listed at $724,000. That's including the building and the land. The reason why you would get an appraiser to do something different is because the property appraiser looks at a building as if it's occupied. And that's probably why it was at 724. Well, our appraisal looked at the building as is, the condition that it was in, and then there was a difference of, 650 to the 724. We offered the owner $715,000, which they initially agreed to do, but they really wanted the 724. Although there's an $8,000 difference, I did not feel comfortable in going. I went 10% because there would be no interest. That was with the interest built in. So 10% of 650 would have been 65,000. That took it to 715. But to go above that, I did not feel comfortable in spending CRA funding for a property that appraised at 650. So I felt that I know it's 8,000, but that was the sticking point.
Okay.
If you If this board wants us to do something different, then, you know, I don't feel comfortable in presenting it to you at 724 at a property that appraised at 650. But of course, I don't know if this board is allowed to go above that. But I would prefer it to come from you opposed from me. I don't, my comfort range was at 650. I did the additional 10% because they were willing to hold it over a 3 or 4 year period. There should be some interest due of that, but the 10% I was not comfortable in going above. So that became a sticking point. So I removed it.
Hold on. Okay, I reserve my question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to suggest we stick that amount in the general fund, and if you identify a future property and you want to come back and you can work something out, then we could come back to it then. But if the seller doesn't want to sell anymore, then let's just stick it aside, and you can do further investigation. Maybe there's another property out there or something.
Unless you all want me to do the 724, which was their original offer price.
It's my understanding they wanted it pulled off. They didn't want to sell, period. They've changed their mind.
She doesn't want to say.
She does not.
At this
She does
point,
not
the
want to say.
item's been pulled from the
Yes,
agenda,
ma'am.
and
What is it?
we're discussing the budget item
Yeah.
now, and the discussion
want to
should be germane to the budget
budget item.
changes.
Okay.
If this item is to come back at a future meeting,
Right.
or if you want to direct staff to bring it back at a future meeting, that's fine. But now that it's been pulled from the agenda and you voted on the agenda, I mean, we can't go back and address that item and approve it or anything of that nature in a modified form at this point.
Then I just make a friendly amendment to the budget, if we approve it, that we take the $715,000 and rather than put it in property acquisition, put it in general fund, and that way we can use it as we want to. It's not stuck.
Here's my thing. I really this property, I don't even know who really the owner is. I really don't care about which property that we actually buy. But my concern is that, and was my concern from the beginning of the CRA, whenever that we have money we put back in the general fund, everybody just tap $10,000 here, $100,000 there, and at the end of the day, we really accomplish nothing, or not to say not much. So my concern, if we can allocate this money for a specific project, either to buy a property, at the end of the day, we'll know that we did something with that money. I'm not saying exactly for this property. The reason that I asked the question, I just wanted to make sure that why it was removed, if it's the owner does not want to sell at all, or we have an issue with it. So I hope that you understand, Scott. I don't mind not to buy it on this property, but I'm afraid that we put it back in the pile. Everybody's gonna just go there and take. I know I will ask for some for my district. You will ask some. At the end of the day, it's nothing. We have nothing to show for.
Okay.
Board Member Blaine.
I propose that we accept this proposed amended budget. That's my motion.
Thank you, Board Member.
Yes, the $750,000, and why don't we leave it in the budget
Let's concentrate on the
and
budget.
concentrate ourselves to look for another property if this thing come along, and we can make a purchase, because the owner doesn't want to sell. It's fine, but I think the idea was ideal. The idea was very good, and to have a business incubator in the city. We still have the possibility to go out and look for another property and to do that same type of business. And I'm not agree with Councilman Galvin to put it on the general fund. I think let's leave the money on the CRA just to buy another property like the other one, and for the business incubator. I think that's probably better if we conduct ourselves in such manner.
And
Let's the record
Can we
reflect that
the chairman has arrived.
Chairman is arrived. Unfortunately, that I have to pass the gavel back to
I have an
you.
amendment to accept the
Whatever the vice mayor said about everything before that, I agree with her 100%, and I second that motion. And if the motion was not made about everything that she said, I'll make that motion to adopt everything that she said.
There's no
Mr.
such
Mayor.
motion.
So you're seconding
Go ahead.
Mr. Blynn's motion?
The only
to
motion
approve
is
the
to
amendment?
accept the amendment.
Oh, okay.
No.
No,
I just have a
No.
question.
go
You
ahead.
want to accept the proposed budget?
The Pioneer Boulevard project is $80,000 over budget.
No, it's 87. That was a project that was approved to be a CRA project,
Right.
but the funding source was from CRA, but it had not have been officially allocated. So
Okay.
that's what we're doing
So
now.
we're just making whole what we've done in the
Yes,
past so that
that's
they can get
correct.
it finished. Because I
Yes,
had
sir.
somebody ask me about it this week, and they're excited to see it get done.
Yes.
And as long as we're not, I thought this was saying it was 80,000 over
No.
the 200. Wasn't it 250,000 we approved in the past?
Uh,
Something like that?
71?
200, yeah.
250. Okay, so we're still at about that 250.
Yes.
We're not now 320 or something like
Let's
that.
take care of
no.
business, please.
Okay, no, I'm excited to see it get done because it'll be an improvement.
It is over the it's over the 250. It's over the 250. The
time it took to get to the project,
Right.
everything.
what happened was the Pioneer Boulevard goes from 6th Avenue all the way up. When we got to the pond or the waterfall, which is doing what we're doing now, that's what drove it up over, and that was a part of the original cost. That was included in the original scope of work. And my understanding is that that project was underway prior to me, but when we got to that part, there was no funding.
So previously, we've allocated $250,000 for the Pioneer Boulevard project.
That's correct.
Are you suggesting we're adding 87,000 to take this to approximately 320, 330,000?
That's correct.
Why isn't there more there's nothing in here that explains what happened and why they're over cost so much. That's a significant, I mean, that's a third of their original price.
Some of it was approved prior to me, that entire project with the scope of work. So when they did their, you're going back a couple of years ago.
Right, but this was bid out about a year ago.
No.
It was bid out when?
It was bid out about 3 years ago.
Okay.
What was recently bid out was when we got to the scope that was included was the pond, the end part. This is the final product. That's what was bid out at 87,000.
But it seems a little bit unfair, it just in the general overall sense. I mean, you can come in as the low bidder and you can win the project and you can get it at this dollar amount, and then, hey, let's just say we're over cost, come back without any explanation or detail and get an additional $87,000.
It's a different contractor. So you had.
But none of that is in here then, so.
Well, some of it was prior knowledge, Councilman. I can tell you that the Pioneer Boulevard project went from 6th Avenue just all the way probably up to Dixie. They put in street cuts, a lot of curbing.
Yeah, we were all at the groundbreaking here 6 months ago up at the fountain. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I
Yes.
get it. But I don't understand then why it's jumping an additional $87,000. There's nothing in here that explains why there's that cost overrun. There's no detail whatsoever.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
May I? From what I understand, the $87,000 is not just coming before us now to vote on it. We already voted on it. That's what it is? Did we already voted on that project or on that $87,000?
But the project was approved. But the funding source, the project was approved. Now we have to move the money over.
Right.
And
Now
that's what we're doing.
It's $87,000 over budget, and you're asking us for another $87,000. But my problem is that there's no detail in here at all that says why they need 87,000, what went wrong, who's going to get the new contract or the additional
Yeah.
money. Like, it's just, there
Nothing-
needs to be some detail in
Yeah,
here.
nothing went wrong. This was the last part of the scope of work. Although you may have funded 250, when I came on board, the last piece of scope of work that this board approved was for what's taking place now, the pond.
Which cost
re-
$87,000.
Which costs 87.
But-
Although you approved it, it was not in the budget. You approved it, but it was not in the budget to be approved.
I
So-
think we're splitting hairs. I just can't, I can't.
No.
Listen to that. In that case, is not like we say over budget. Since we approve it because the money was not there, that's the reason we didn't give the money. But it was approved for that amount. That's correct?
The project was approved.
Yes.
For
And the amount,
$250,000.
no, what you approved was the 87,000 for this project. The money was never moved over.
So now
So
we're just
we have
going to
make
move the money.
amendment to move the money over.
Why wouldn't that type of documentation or explanation be in the packet? There is zero explanation in the packet. It's just one line that says 87,000 for Pioneer Boulevard project. I don't understand. I don't know who's getting this money. I don't know why they're getting the money. You're saying now it's for the fountain. That's cool, but why does staff not give us any type of real information so that we can make an educated decision up here?
Councilman Galvin, is not because the money already approved. That's the
money-
reason we have it like that.
That's what we're being asked to do right now, is to move another $87,000 toward this project.
Not another $87,000.
Yes, another $87,000. Am I not hearing you right? We'd originally approved $251,000, and now we're being asked to move another $87,000 toward that project.
No,
Let
it's
me
not
explain it to you this way. This project was pre-approved for,
We
And-
get the project, but if
Right.
the costs are higher, then
For-
we're being asked to move more money toward the project.
No,
Wha-
that's
okay,
not
I'm
what
going to
he's
shut up.
saying.
Somebody please explain to me how I'm missing this basic understanding.
I think that prior to me, 250 was approved for a scope of work. The entire project from 6th Avenue up to 10th Avenue, there was the entire project. What you prior approved was a portion of the product was for the street swales and the curbing, which was 250. We brought back to this board the approval to do the pond, which was $87,000. That was passed.
So we've approved this 87,000 in the past.
Yes.
When?
I would have to go back to the minutes, but basically we're just moving the money. This was a
Right.
presentation that Councilman Marcellus brought. It was approved.
I remember the pond
It-
being part of the
Yes.
250,000. So are we rebidding the 87,000? Does the 87
No.
go to the original company?
We had to bring in a separate company because it's a separate scope of
Who's
work.
the separate company?
IMECO.
IMACO was the first original awardee.
I don't know. I don't know who the first was.
IMACO was the
I know
original
that when
awardee.
we
What
put
year?
it back out, when we put it back out, when we not put it back out, when we put it out for the scope of work that I'm familiar with was for the pond. It was $87,000 that was approved, and we're just moving the money.
So IMACO, who got the original $250,000 to do this project, is now getting an additional $87,000 to finish the project.
Yes.
Okay. I just think that level of detail should have been included in here. Obviously, I've been critical of the of certain things related to that company in the past. It doesn't make me feel good to see the sidewalk cleaning project for $99,000 shut down, which was awarded to IMACO, and then an additional 87 be moved over and now awarded to IMACO under the same budget. I mean, it's simply they're taking a $12,000 loss and they're still coming out ahead. I'm not comfortable with any of this.
Sure.
It just doesn't have any information in our budget, and you know, I think we should at least continue the whole thing, and so that you have the opportunity to provide us with some documentation, some information. This
I can tell you, this staff brought before this board at the recommendation of a board member for this scope of work to be done. That work went through a process. It was bidded out. It came in under what the consultant said it would be. This particular company bid it. It went through the process. They won it. And I can tell you, under my administration, we brought this product to you. What happened before then, I cannot attest to, other than the fact that I know, budget-wise, that the entire project strip was done. What you allowed to do, how you went about it, I don't have that information.
but we have the opportunity to have information tonight, and that's my concern. Is you've given us absolutely zero that explains anything. There's literally 5 words in the packet that were given tonight, and it says Pioneer Boulevard project, $87,000.
Because it was previously approved.
Okay. I'll vote no tonight. I won't belabor our evening. I'll come back to you with it in the future, but I have concern that we're going way over budget by a third. We're going over budget by a third, or close to a third, and we're awarding it to the same company, and there's no explanation here as to why that has to happen.
Anyway, I think there is something on that project in the beginning, when we had it with Savino Miller, and they came here and they do a presentation for us and show the project is going to cost that much. Even at that time, they always set aside the price for the pound. Okay, they always say this is not including on it. But I really do not understand, and if there is a confusion right now, when we approve that $87,000 and make it, and Councilman Galvin may think this was in the package. It was a complete deal for the $250,000, because I had a problem myself too to understand it with Savino Miller when they tried to explain it. And we have to purchase the pound. The pound is a different entity, is a different company is going to do it. It's not them. And I really don't see any problem, probably because we probably make it like a one package deal, and now it seems like there is a confusion. But in reality, there is none, because they always see the pound as for another price. That's the way they show it to me. And when we did it back then, they always make it is going to cost so much, and they give me so much. They give so much price. This, when we did a presentation, they say it might cost that much. When we did another one, they say no. The engineer says it's going to cost that much. It was, a yo-yo deal for me since the beginning of it. So.
And if you like, Alderman's here, he has probably some more historical data on it. He can probably explain it. But again, our fiduciary responsibility was the scope of work was 87. We all knew it. It was the Pioneer Garden. So prior history I didn't bring, because this was dealing with the pond. This was dealing with the lake, that area. It was approved, and that's what we're moving. Prior to that, unless you have some...
May I, Mr. Chair, where is the project right now? Is it
it's underway.
Completed,
yeah,
or what is it?
It's just about completed.
Including the pond?
Well, the other part was already completed.
Okay, so now you actually working on
what we
completing
put out was the pond, which was what was approved here.
Is that under construction?
Yes.
So
you actually need the money right now to pay for it.
Well,
the money is already paid for. You just we have to put it on paper.
Right. It's just a formality. It was already approved. Now we're doing the budget amendment.
Because I have no recollection of this also.
Okay, well, we did a groundbreaking ceremony there.
Right, but the project was approved at $250,000. I mean, they came in almost immediately and cleared out the pond area. So my understanding is that the original $250,000 was going toward the project as a whole, including the fountain. And now I'm hearing They need another $87,000 to finish the fountain. Am I incorrect in hearing that? I mean, I want somebody to
Yeah.
please set me straight.
You're actually correct. The fountain was part of the original project.
I don't think that it was included, but
It
I don't
certainly
have the
was.
history to
It
know.
was included.
Almost moments. I drive the area all the
Okay.
time. Almost moments after we broke ground, they cleared out and staked out that fountain area. I mean, I remember quite clearly. In fact, if I open this, I'll probably be able to find some of the illustrations that I had on my website that showed the fountain as part of this project.
Now, you mentioned
I
at
hope
the council meeting.
Mr. Pradant must have very urgent business that he's walking off the dais right now to not be able to answer questions. But we approved the fountain. We approved the $250,000. They got working. And if you're telling me they need an additional $87,000 to finish it because it's more expensive, then please say yes. So that I understand that's what you're asking.
May I help?
But our CRA director
I'm
is at a
telling
loss
you,
for words
I'm
for a
not-
very simple question and answer.
Councilman, I'm not lost for words. I'm simply telling you that when I came on board, the 250 had been expended. What I brought to this board was the pond. It was my understanding that that was not included, which is why I brought it to you.
We voted on it.
You voted on it. I would not have brought it to you if it was included. I would have came to you with the cost overrun.
I'm voting no tonight. I'm clearing my calendar tomorrow so that 1, 2, 3, and 4 can meet with me. I'm clearing my calendar other than Councilman Littman's funeral at 10:30 in the morning. I'm clearing my calendar, and I need you to walk me through every step of all of this because I clearly have a misunderstanding of what this project has been all along and where it's going. So I'll beg of you to tell me what time you need to meet with me, and I'll be there with every document I've got on this project and walk me through it, please.
May I ask a question through the chair? Is the contract for this construction with the CRA or with the city? Isn't this a city project that the CRA is funding?
Yes.
All right, because I clearly have never seen a contract with this company for this work.
So we're actually discussing city project.
So the city, it's a city project, it's not a CRA project. The CRA is putting money in its budget to pay for the project. So this must have come before the city council and been approved in
At
some
the
way.
amount of $250,000.
Okay.
If
So
you were
then-
telling me this 87 is part of the 250, I was shutting up 15 minutes ago. But then I heard you back and say, no, it's an additional 87,000. Which is it?
Is there a change order for the 87,000?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, well, basically what happened in this project is it was bidded and it was at 250,000, but it took a while for them to get to the project. So by the time they actually got to the project, everything cost a lot more. Plus there were additional things like the frog pond included in it. So that's where the 87.
I don't accept that. There's no way it's gone up 1/3.
Can you let them finish
All right.
first, then we could hear from you?
So that's what happened, and part of that money is also including shrubbing, some landscaping that's going to be done around that area as well. So that's where the $87,000 is.
So it is an $87,000 increase over the original cost of the project.
Yes.
Why then, Mr. Pradant, sorry, this is in the way. Why then is there not any explanation or detail of that in here?
Well, that's because we understood that this was a project that was already approved.
Right, the project
That-
was approved at a certain dollar amount. I mean, everybody, let's quit tap dancing. Shirley Temple's not in the room. We need to just admit it's over the budget amount by $87,000, and I have a huge issue not only with the amount, but the fact that there's no documentation in here, and you guys don't seem to be concerned at all that we're spending an additional $87,000 of taxpayer money on this project when it could be spent somewhere else.
I think my comments go to the fact that in your meeting, you should probably include the city attorney, not the CRA attorney, and understand whether you need to have council action to approve an $87,000.
I need my
increase.
CRA attorney at this meeting.
Okay.
You can bill overtime, but I need it on the record. I need the legal advice of both attorneys if necessary. Guys, I see what this
happy to
is.
be
It's
there.
over by $87,000. I'm not misunderstanding it. Maybe there's no extra meeting needed. I get it. We're over cost by $87,000. Staff, I hold you at fault for not including any explanation of that in this agenda. No documentation. The word IMACO is never used. There's no detail here at all. You need to do some work in the 2 weeks or 4 weeks that go between every meeting and provide us with some real information in these packets instead of vague 1-5-word descriptions.
In all due respect, I think this was done intentionally. I mean, I do hold you accountable for it. I'd like to postpone this, so that, if that's the case, until we get to the bottom of it.
I can tell you there was nothing.
We cannot go ahead and accuse staff that it was done intentionally. I mean,
The way they,
we don't
the
know.
way they were
Guys, we don't know
giving this to us,
exactly
the way they
what
were,
happened. We don't
this
know
was like a
exactly.
curve being thrown at us.
Okay. All right. You guys ready to approve the this budget? Is there anything with that now? Can we just approve it, Mr. CRA Attorney? Can we approve it the way it is right now? Is there any issue that we need to take off?
If the executive director's finished with his report, you can certainly ask and entertain a motion.
Okay.
I withdraw my
Just
motion
one
because
second,
I'm going to
one-
vote against it
Our
also.
motion died
Okay.
for lack of a second about half an hour ago.
Right, Mr. Manager.
No, the only thing I can tell you is that this was something that was approved. We brought it. So history before that, I can't even say I apologize for not having it because that was before my time. But we brought the pond. It was requested. We brought it. It was known that the price was 87. That's what I'm doing now. There's no hitting. There's no agenda. There's no nothing. When I came on the board, it was a Pioneer Boulevard, the end cap that needed to be done. Prior to that, I can't, I'm not going to even apologize for what information you don't have or you think it's missing. I brought a pond, it was approved, I'm bringing that 87 before you. Now, what you did before that, I'm sorry, I don't have the historical data for you.
Okay.
May I ask the last question?
Sure, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair? This was well, I got the answer. That's not a CRA project anyways. So it's a city project. So this is something that we should be addressed in the city meeting to find out exactly what's going on. And I agree with Councilman Scott Galvin regarding all those information that he doesn't have, which he needed. One other thing that I know I would encourage you guys to do as well, it wouldn't take us that long. When I go over the agenda, if it's something fishy, because this is for Councilman Blend, they work for us, staff working for us. It's just like our kids. We don't want to bring our kids in public and beat them up and tell them how nasty they are, how ugly they are. But we come, we correct them, we talk to them. If you want to fire them, we fire them. We want to kick them out, we kick them out. But we ask them questions. Councilman Scott Gavin have issues, he's asking questions, he's telling them, let's meet tomorrow. That's how we're supposed to treat staff. We don't just go ahead and accuse them in public, probably something that we have to
No,
say sorry
this,
tomorrow
I
morning.
disagree with you here.
So anyways, okay,
they-
you can disagree with me. I'm not asking you to agree with me. on
They
anything.
presented a different
But
issue
I'm
to
just-
us than the
I'm
truth.
just telling you that they're working for us. If we don't want them any longer, we fire them or whatever that we have to do.
No.
But anyways,
Now,
if
what we
have
do is
issues,
question to find
we
the
go
truth.
over the agenda, either that we meet with them in private, because we have access to them all the time. If we're up here, we have questions. Yes, we ask questions, but we don't go out and just disrespecting them. Anyways, I'm hoping that after your meeting, and I have questions as well, I won't need to meet with all of you, but I will be meeting with the city manager to see how much answers that he has or how much information that he can find to clarify this item, because this is something that I would like to discuss in city meetings, because it's a city item, I would say, a city project. But however, the project's already started. Apparently, we voted for it, which I'm hoping that we have documentation for it. But I'm ready to move on with the CRA budget, Mr. Chair. But I still gonna have to meet with the city managers to find out exactly what's going on and discuss it in city meetings.
Okay,
And
is that
move it.
is that you make your motion? Board Member Marcelli seconded the motion. Anyone wishes to record or no?
No.
No.
Okay, item pass. Mr. Director, any other issues that we need to consider at this moment?
I have one. He doesn't.
Yes. You're passing the budget, but I think that the issue needs to be clarified that Councilman, Board Member Marcellus had indicated that freezing those funds for a future business incubator. Is that what I'm understanding that we're doing?
Mhm.
Because the business acquisition here is not there. If we want to freeze that particular component.
It's listed as property acquisition. I'm happy to leave it as property acquisition. Maybe it's a business incubator, maybe you come up with another idea, but
Yeah, and that's what we're.
Yeah, put it into that category. Leave
Okay.
it there.
Okay.
And that, Mr. Ghani is here, and he can shed the light. whether you
That's
wanna
already
go-
been
No.
passed.
Okay, we'll
That
have a
issue
separate-
can
That's
be
a
met.
city. That's a
It's
city.
fine.
That's a city project.
Okay.
I'm assuming that we can answer that question
Sure.
during city meetings or in private. Mr. Chair, if you allow me, I have another
Sure.
a question. The $40,000 for the small business. What happened with it?
Well, there a couple of different things. This was grant money that was previously allocated, and some where we had money sitting there and just sitting there.
To do what? To what was it
Th-
allocated
was
for? Small business to do what?
Previously allocated for other projects. And this is where projects came before my time. This was projects that came before this board to be approved. For instance, it could have been a business who's going to do some sort of improvement, but they never did the improvement.
Okay.
The funds were allocated and it was never done. So what we have done, we started looking at these funds that were allocated before my time and say, why is this money sitting there? Why aren't you using these monies? So we went back and we brought the money back in. For some reason, either the business no longer existed, they no longer wanted to do the project anymore, or what have you. A variety of different cases. So this is why these are unallocated funds that we're bringing back to be used.
Okay. All right. I'm done. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. CRA Attorney, any additional issues?
Not tonight, sir.
Okay. Board members, anything else?
Yes. One more thing. I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
I know dead days is coming soon. I don't think that we're gonna have a CRA meeting before then. If there's anything, Mr. CRA Attorney, if there's anything that we need to know, if we go to Tallahassee to advocate on behalf of the CRA.
Well, typically, as in the past 2 years, Miami-Dade County has proposed legislation that would seek to restrict CRAs in Dade County and perhaps terminate them, perhaps restrict their powers and the like. I have not seen such a bill surface this year as of yet.
Okay.
If I do, my office in Tallahassee will certainly be sending it to me. I'll forward it to you all. But that's an issue when you're up there from the CRA standpoint. If you meet anyone from the Florida Redevelopment Association, to indicate that you're in favor of CRAs, that your CRA is doing good things in your community, that you're expecting a large TIF from a project known as Biscayne Landing that is going to be coming up in the next few years to give you the money to do what you intended to do 7 years ago, which is to be able to perhaps, bond that income stream of TIF so that you can do large-scale projects in your city and complete the redevelopment within the 30-year plan. So I'll let you know if anything comes up with the county in the meantime, and certainly make you aware of any events up there involving Gray Robinson.
Okay. Thank you.
Chairman, there's
Yes.
one more issue that we need to address. Currently, as we speak, we have roughly 3 candidates for office who are sitting on the CRA committee, the CRA board. And I know there's a rule out there, and I'm not, thank God the city, well, thank Father, the CRA attorney is here. Because I do understand that when it comes to our current city boards, if an individual qualifies for office, they would have to immediately resign from any boards. I'm not sure what the criteria are or what the legal requirements are with regards to the CRA board, but I would recommend that the 3 candidates, which are Mike McDermott, Lucy Thundro, Mary Estime Irvin, would submit resignation letters so that we can replace these individuals on our
That's
CRA.
advisory board.
I think Mr. McDermott pulled out.
Well, we don't have that documentation at the clerk's office. Until we get an oath of withdrawal, we would, because we don't want to keep these particular positions vacant and wait after the election. We just would like them to resign now so that Mayor Pierre, Councilman Marcellus, and Councilman Blinn can appoint whoever they want to
Can
appoint.
we do that?
Yeah, but
Can we
they
ask
haven't qualified yet.
Can we ask people to? I'm
It's
just gonna kick
premature.
you out now. Premature.
Yes, you may. You may ask your appointees to resign because they're currently candidates for office and they all, at this point, intend to qualify so that you can appoint the person you would like to appoint. Yes, you may. And that's what I am recommending. I'm recommending that you reach out to your appointees and ask them to resign so that this council can appoint who they would like to appoint. That's just my recommendation.
Are any of those mine?
No, one is Mayor Pierre, I'm sorry, Chairman Pierre, Councilman Marcellus, and Councilman Blinn. Okay, thank you.
Okay. This is something we could do to a letter to you and let you know who the next appointment is. Then we'll vote it on in the next board meeting. Okay. Yes, Mr. Director. Any issues?
I can resolve this with Councilman Galvin.
You could resolve it maybe
Afterwards?
off.
I was going to ask
off
for a
the
little
record.
hobnob real quick anyways.
Off the record.
You'll be satisfied.
All right.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none. Motion pass.